Okay, guys. So we will start with CSS today. I think the pen is not working. Just give me a second. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's type on a uh, Word document. So basically, we have seen that HTML deals with the structure, right? It deals with the structure of the web page, right? Okay. That means you can have a form. Within the form, you can have different text fields, the tables, and all information, set of information. So how, where, which information is going to be placed? This structuring is taken care by HTML. Now CSS, which is called as cascading style sheet, okay, cascading style sheet, it deals with presentation and the styles, right? Styles, or you can see it, the presentation of the content. ठीक है, fine. Presentation का मतलब क्या है? What could be the font color? ठीक है. What could be the width of the table, right? uh, Background color, size of the image, different angles of the style of each and every element of HTML. The elements of the HTML are basically represented by some tag, some or the other tag, right? So HTML presents you the, or gives you the structure of the web page, where CSS gives you the style or the presentation of the content. Now, when we talk about CSS, that is cascading style sheet, or rather style in general, how to make a style. So we have three kinds of styles. One is within the particular tag. So H1 is a tag, heading one tag. There is an attribute called style, right? And this style may have a number of values, attributes, right? Say for example, I can set the background color of H1 as say blue violet, right? And that terminates with a semicolon. The There could be a number of attributes, but all the attributes are going to be within single double quotation, right? And each attributes are going to be separated by a semicolon. If you miss the semicolon, then you will get error. And typically in HTML, when you get the error, what will happen? You're not going to get any message. Rather, the content will not be displayed correctly. ठीक है? So let me say I'm talking about font color, font, say, or say even the size, font size. So let me say 5 rem. Okay, okay. So by default, when you talk about H1 to H6, they have a predefined size of the font, right? You can even change that, right? So in the style, I am saying that font size is 5 rem, right? What is this rem means and what are every attribute means, we'll see it in detail in later on. Okay, as of now, just try to understand whatever is easy to see and grasp, right? So I am talking about changing the background color of header, right? Which is by default is black, automatic, and the font size to be 5 rem, right? Let me just check without putting this style and see it's how it is presented when we open it with the live server. ठीक है. This is h1, right? Now let's just put it back, whatever styles we have added, and let's save it. And you can see the background color has changed. 5 rem is typically very large value. Let me reduce it to, say, for example, 3 rem, and I think it should be better, right? So depending upon whether we are having a small window or the larger window, this could expand or get into the new line. So this style, when we give a style within the element of the HTML, or within the tag element of the HTML, as one of the attribute value pairs, so this is called as inline style. Inline. Okay, this is called as inline. So there are basically three categories of styles. This one, which we give within the tag by using the style attribute and giving its numerous values under double quotation separated by semicolon, then this is called as inline style. Okay, we can give it to any particular tag. Okay, as simple as that, right? IDE is with us to help us. So as soon as I just press control space, I can see say background color, or say font color, or something font style. Font style could also be there. Say for example, font style. Just put a colon, and then it will say normal or italic or oblique and so on, right? So there are a number of parameters, number of values which could be explored forever, and we can do that. Okay, as of now, just to understand is that when such kind of style is given within the tag itself, that is called as inline style, right? Now, instead of giving this inline style, there is another possibility that there are a number of headers, right? Number of headers throughout the document, right? Let me say h1 is repeated. So I'm just copying h1. Okay. I will ask you to basically use the shortcut. So I'm just pressing Alt Shift and then low arrow key. That means the line I am on it will be copied downwards. If I will press the up arrow key, the line will be copied upwards. So these are all h1s, right? Similarly, let me say I change one of them to h2, and here also I'm changing it to h2. Say for example, right? And then let me copy this. So let me change some text. So okay, just a second. I want to change all this text to something else so that I can differentiate between to my home, home page, for example. Okay. So I've changed some messages which is printed as a heading two, and now you can see these are all appearing in the browser window. So another type of style is, you can see in the comment I have already written some kind of code, right? Let me, I put this in comment. So this is basically an HTML comment. You start with a less than symbol, an exclamation mark, and two dash. That is the start of the comment, and then it ends with two dash and then a greater than symbol. That's the end of the comment. So let me just select all this, and let me press, I think, control and slash. It is going to toggle the comment. Okay, comment has gone, right? Now this kind of style, you can see it's in the head. It's not in the body, but it's in the head of the HTML, right? I'm writing this style in the head, and to write this style I am using a tag style that's open up here, and then there is a tag style that's end here, just like any other HTML tag. Okay, clear है? uh, the previous style that we were writing inside the HTML tag itself was the inline tag, inline style, and this is called as internal style. So it's not in line but internal to the page. That means this style is written within the page itself, right? So the second category of style is internal style, right? We are writing this inside the head, right? We start with a style tag and we end with a style tag. Now, after that, this is the comment for styles. You have seen the HTML comment? That's different. Now, when I write a style within the style tags, if I want to make a comment, I will just use the syntax just like a C language. Slash star, start. It could be a multiple line comment, then star and slash. So here I have given a comment. CSS styles go here, right? Fine. You can. Now for H1. Now this H1 is basically a selector. Selector means I can choose any of the tags of HTML, and for whatever styles I am setting over here, that style will be applicable to all those H1s. They could be 1,000 times repeated throughout the page, but this the same style will be copied throughout, and that makes sense because if you are creating a web page, rather not just a web page, if you are creating a web application or web website, then you will prefer to have all the pages and all the content within the pages have a synchronous or a same look and feel, right? If you want a heading to be of a particular site, particular size, particular font, right, font style, as well as a for particular color, maybe a background color, then you want it to be same in its entirety, except for some exception where you want to do it little differently for some reasons, right? Otherwise you will try to maintain the look and the feel of the content. So you will be willing to make header one to be of certain styles, then header two to be of certain styles, the paragraph content to be of certain styles, label to be of certain styles, and so on, right? The table, how the table or the image appears, that again you want to have a common certain styles that keeps your look and feel of the whole of the website or the web application same. ठीक है, correct? So इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? H1 is the selector. That means selector means any tag that I am using, right? So I am choosing this H1 selector, and what I'm saying is saying that for any heading one that appears in the HTML page, what I have to do is I have to choose the color or the font color as blue, right? I have to choose the text align as center, fine, and I have to choose the margin as 100 px. Margin is top margin. This is margin hyphen top. So this distance 100 px, 100 pixels, right? So this is what I have chosen for H1, right? Let's see once I have removed the comment and let me save it. See what happens. Color has changed to blue, right? You can see the top margin has changed. Here again you can see the margin. Okay, the margin has appeared. Then its center. I can even if I wish I can change this to see, for example, say left. Okay, and it shifts to left and so on. But it's shifting for all H1, not for H2s, not for H2s, right? If I want to take H2 as a selector, that means I want to provide some styles for the H2, then I will have to, let me just copy it and paste it here, and let me change it to H2. Let me make the color as red for H2. Say for example, either I can select or I can just type red. Okay, let me make it see center, and let uh, this be just 10 for example, right? Top margin. Okay, let's see what happens. See, fine. So when I have given a style for to a selector, that means all the elements of that type of selector will have the same style throughout the page. Okay, fine. Let's go back to the code and let's see what are the other selectors I have chosen. For paragraph, I have chosen font size is equal to 18 px. If I would have written any paragraph, let me see if there is a paragraph or not. I don't think there is a paragraph, right? I will have to add a paragraph element if I want to apply this style. The style may exist. even before the element is added. That's not a problem. Okay. Whenever you add that element, that style will be applicable to it. Okay. So I have choose the color is equal to gray. Let me just add a paragraph and let's see. Yeah, there is a paragraph, right? Okay, there is a paragraph. So let's see. Yeah, see, the color is gray, font size, everything is there. Okay, fine. Uh, then what is this? UL another list. For another list, we say list style type as a square. Square means you see uh, where are the elements. We have any another list or not? Another list is there. Item one, item two, item three. Okay, it's there. Just after this. Okay, here it is, right? Item one, item two, item three. I have given the background color. That's why it was not visible. Okay. So for an order list, the style was basically the background color is this one. RGB some code is there. I can choose it to whatever I like. It's really invisible. So let me change it to something which is lighter. So it will make more sense. Okay. Control S. See, it's there now. Uh, the list style is square and the padding is 50x. Okay, fine. Let me change to say, for example, this from square to say what are the other options? Circle, right? If we make it circle, so it applies. Circle applies over here, right? And so on. Then we have got list item for each and every list item. See, another list is a tag. List item is another tag within the another list, which is meant for either another list or for order list, right? So we can choose both them as a separate selectors, right? So list item says the color is this RGB, this something bluish violet color, right? And then the font style is italic, right? So as you can see, the item is written like that. Okay. Let me say if I do not want to, I want to create just an order list, right? Order list. I have not given a style for order list, right? So let me just add some order list here and let's see what happens. Order list, and within the order list, let me say, let me copy these things, right? These element, okay, and let me move. Sorry, Control X, Control V. इसकी जरूरत नहीं है. ठीक है. So we have ordered list for item 1, 2, 3 again, right? So what do you think? Any style will be applied to it or not? List वाली apply होगी, right? Okay. Let's see, it is italic, right? It's in the same color. Even though we do not have a style for order list, but we have a style for the list items, li, right? So that is only applied. If you want it to be for order list also, we can specifically provide a another by using the selector order list another style for it separately, right? Then we have style for image. For image we say the width is equal to 500 pixel, the height is equal to 200 pixel, right? The border is 1 pixel solid black, for example. Let me change it to something else. Say something which is red and which is not 1 pixel but rather it's say 10 pixel. Okay, so that style is applied over here for the image, right? We can keep changing the width and the length, and you can keep on trying. I will share the code. So then what is this tag? Selector anchor. For anchor we are saying the color is equal to green, text decoration is none, So will happen with the anchor is that you see this has turned to green. Although it's not advisable to turn it to any other color which is different from the default color, which is I think that violet color, right? So because that's a convention now, that's a convention that you are used to see the hyperlinks as that particular color, right? So it's not advisable because in that case you may not in first instance understand that it's a hyperlink, right? And then also you keep the browser over the here and you see the hand coming over there, right? So this might be a little annoying, not good. So let me just remove it, Control S, and let it appear as the normal color. Okay. So so what is the difference between now in inline and internal styles? Inline is for specific tag element, right? And internal is for the whole page, for that particular selector, right? Now let's say that out of these so many h1s, I want just this first h1, first heading only, to have a different color from the rest of the h1s. Okay, right? So I am free to give an inline style also, right? Inline style, and let me say font, uh, what is font color or what is there? Font color, right? There's a color element, right? And let me say the color element is, say for example, it's not blue but it's brown, right? And let's see what happens. Rest everything is blue, and this first one is brown. So that means the inline style is taking a precedence over the internal style. Okay. Whenever there is a inline style, the internal style, even though it is present for all the h1 element, that will not be applied. That means the inline style overrides the internal style. As a matter of fact, let me tell you, no matter what technology you are working, no matter what language you are working, just remember this rule, and you will resolve that which of the configuration will take precedence over the other. For example, in a C language, which is a procedure language, you have global variables and you have method local variables. Aware of it, right? If both the variables have the same name, right, and in the method you use that particular name which is same as the method local variable as well as the global variable, which one will be printed if you try to print it? Local, local, which is near. So just like for example, if I ask this person that give me a chair, so he have two options. One chair is here, one chair is on the back. So he will always prefer the chair which is near to me, right? Similarly, if you talk about object-oriented programming language, there are instance variable, there are method local variables. If they have the same name, this typical problem is called as problem of shadowing. That means the local method local variable shadows the instance variable. In that case, what you do? You in C++ or in Java you use this keyword, right? This, and then in C++ arrow key, right? And then the variable name to indicate it's an instance variable. That's different from a method local variable where you just give the name of the variable itself, right? Similarly in Java you say this dot, right, and so on. So you have a way to distinguish between them. But if you do not distinguish, you just use the name of the variable. By default it will be the method local variable which is near to that line of code. Fine. Similarly, when you have some configuration either in the framework that you will use in the future or the application configuration itself, for example, if I want to access a database, right? So one way is I will write a code either in PHP or Java that is going to connect to my database, and then I can fire the query. For example, select query. So that all those code I will write within my either PHP or Java or C# code, right? Fine. Now, when I would like to connect to the database, I will have to provide certain information like the username, the password, the name of the table, okay, the port number, that complete URL, just like you have a URL over here, right? There is also a complete URL that connects basically to the database. Now, suppose you have hard coded that URL inside the code, but the standard way what industry follows is any configuration element should not be hard coded. That should be within a file, either a text file or a property file, which is again a text file, or an XML file. But that information should be kept out from the code. Why? Because if you make a change in the code someday, your username change, your password change, you have to make change to the code itself. That means you are breaking the code. That means you have to compile all the code which are affected by it, right? And when the code breaks, it goes through a complete test cycle because it may impact many places, right? It's when there is a code, it's a huge code wave, right? So the preferred way is you keep such configuration element within within a separate file, so that if you change that particular information, all you need to do is to just restart the server or redeploy the application on the server. That's it. You don't have to recompile the code because that's not hard coded. If you write every information in the code itself, that is what we call as hard coded, which is absolutely not desirable. Okay. So in that case, what will happen if you have hard coded something? It's also present in the XML file or the properties file or any of the text files. So that means the one which is hard coded is near, and that will take the precedence. That will override the one which is coming for the file. Okay. Although that's not a good idea to do that, but this way you can always have a have an idea to decide upon which one is working, right? Sometimes you change in the configuration file and you see that it is not working actually. It's not giving the right result or not expecting the way I am expecting. So you will have to go and check anywhere it's hard coded or what, right? तो इस तरह से आप डिबग करना भी पड़ सकता है आपको. ठीक है, बात समझ में आ रही है? जस्ट रिमेंबर द रूल, whichever is closer that will take the precedence, whichever is further that will be overridden. ठीक है? Fine. So we have seen this. Now there could be something else. Now tell me, this style, is this style is applicable to only this particular page, or there are so many HTML pages in my project? Are they applicable to every pages or only to this particular page? Only to this particular page because it is internal to this particular page. That is why we are calling it as internal style. But in case I have got application which has got a hundreds of pages, I would like to preferably have a look and feel which is common to all the pages. That's the proper way, right? So I can even move this a level up externally into a file, right? It will not be internal to this HTML file, but rather it will be external stored to in a externally as a separate file, a style sheet file, and from there we can access the styles over here, right? So what I am doing, I am just trying to break this code and I am trying to cut this whole style what I have applied. Control X, right? As soon as I do this and I save it, you can see all the style should go. What happened? Not save or what? Acha, inline style. Right. बाकी सब चलेगी, right? Inline style is there, but rest others have just those are gone, right? Now let me create a new file, right? And just like we are habitual or we have a convention of giving the first file that we make in HTML project is index.html or sometime home.html. Same way you can write either style.css or main.css. That's a convention people follow. Okay. So in most of the project you will see style.css as part of the project, right? So let me type the same name as style with the extension .css, just like we have got the extension HTML or HTML for HTML, right? .c for C, right? CPP for C++, .java for Java, and so on. So I'm creating this file. Now let me paste this code. You can see this error, right? There is an error. This is ID is telling me that there is possibility of an error, right? Otherwise, HTML, if you write in a notepad, you won't get any such indications, right? Why? Because we have created a separate style sheet by the name style.css. CSS itself tells you that it's a style sheet, right? So I don't anymore need this style tag now. Just get rid of it. Neither the starting one nor the ending one. I don't need it, right? This is my style sheet. Fine. It's saved in a external file with the name style.css. Let's go back to our page. Okay, everything is saved, but the output has not changed. Why? Because we have created external style sheet, but we have not linked to this particular page. That means even though you create an external style sheet, that will not be linked to every page automatically. You have to link page by page. Okay? And for that linking, you have to just write a single line of code, right? What you can do, you can just go back and you can go back to the head again. Okay? And you can write, you can use the link attribute, right? Either you can just use link and make changes over there, or there's a easier way, you can use link colon css. Just enter it, right? You see by default it has chosen style.css, and that link says that it is related to style sheet, right? Now let me save this file. See, everything has come, right? If I just copy and paste this particular thing to some other page, for example, say first example of HTML over here under the head, right? I don't think it has got anything, right? So let's go to some other page. First page, here we have got something, right? So here we can just put it, control V, control S. Let me run it into live server. I think it's the same thing, just we don't have the order list, right? It's the same thing. We can go to some other page also. For example, this label page, right? It doesn't have got, yeah, it has got h1 and paragraph, so we can test it over here. So let's go to HTML. We don't have the head, so first we have to create the head, and within the head we can paste it and save it, and then let me run it on live server. See, right? Because we have provided the style for only the header and for the paragraph, not for this. Uh, I think we have provided for unordered list circle, right? So it's coming circle also here, right? You're not given anything for label, right? Now the question, for a particular selector H1, we have written inline style, we have written internal style also. Like for example, uh, this page, say, uh, what was the first page? This page has a link to the style sheets, right? Which is basically where it is style.css. And let me copy this element, and let me go to that page again. And here, even after linking it to the external style sheet, let me provide style tag over here, right? And within this style tag, let me change the style. Say from blue to, let me change it to, say for example, something ग्रे. ठीक है, ठीक है. अब बताओ इसको रन करेंगे तो क्या होगा. ग्रे हो गया, right? Now what happens, the near one will take precedence, right? So the near one for all the header which doesn't have an inline style is this one, internal. But this first one, this has got an inline style, this one, so it further takes precedence on the internal one. ठीक है, तो जो सबसे नियरेस्ट स्टाइल होगी वो दूसरी स्टाइल्स को ओवरराइड कर देगी. क्लियर है? So if you have got a style sheet that might be, you can link it to every page, but even though for a particular page, for a particular selector itself, just you want to change the style, you can do it by internal style. Even in those particular selector, for one of the tag of the multiple use of the particular selector, if you want that one element to be changed for the style, you can go for inline style and so on. ठीक है, क्लियर हो गई इतनी बात? ओके, तो आज रोके इस पर, इसको मैं शेयर कर दूंगा कोड, आज ही कोशिश करूंगा इसको रिवाइज करके आइएगा।